All right, Johnny, and there's no question that Mr. Brown had a very tough decision to make last night.
Thank you very much.
He made it, and the real issue has to be the amount of time the clock dragged on with just a few seconds left after a whistle stop play that cost Canada time in that game. Well, we're now in the 8th game, and just getting set to get underway in the 2nd period with the Canadians leading it by a score of 1-0. As the officials are waiting over at the boards for something before getting things underway. They haven't got a puck. Well, that's a good enough reason to wait. Kapala now has a puck. And the two teams have a 2nd period to play, and it is underway with Ralph Backstrom at center ice. Pat Stapleton back on the blue line, lobs it down to Sigilnikov, and he leaves it for big Alexander Gusev. Gusev clears it ahead to the center ice area. And Pat Stapleton now for Team Canada relays it off the boards for Ralph Backstrom. Backstrom there with Mark Howe, turns back, waiting. Of course, Canada had to kill some time there. Al Hamilton with the 2nd period penalty just stepped back onto the ice, so they're at full strength now. Now they can go full throttle again. The Soviets, Harlamov with it, number 17. And it's taken away by Mark Howe. Howe ahead to Father Gordy inside the line, a bit too far. Slides behind the blue line in the corner for Vladimir Luchenko. Soviets quickly work it back up to center ice again. Swept away there, and a good check by Hamilton with Howe. Gordy on the right side. Against Viculo, got tied up. Now clears it across in his own end for Pat Stapleton. He shoots it directly down the ice onto the goalie, Sigilnikov. And Sigilnikov makes the save as Backstrom came cruising in on him. Well, they've changed that goal to read Bobby Hull now, with Tremblay and Backstrom getting the assist. So maybe it was Bobby who got a piece of it, Howie.
Yes, I'm sure. Just on that 2nd replay we had, I thought it had hit 2 Russian sticks, but you can see Hull quite clearly sweep in through the slot, stick the stick out, deflect it in.
He also scored one last night, which officially was a split second too late, gets the first goal of this game. Team Canada leads 1-0 early in the 2nd period here. Lacroix now makes the shot, clears it in front. Webster shoots, and he shot. It was deflected there as he had a good chance right out in front of Sigilnikov. But the Soviets now come back down the ice. Here's Shadrin closing in. Waiting, makes a pass back too far behind number 5, Lyapkin. The Canadians have it at the Soviet blue line. Webster works inside into the clear. Tommy Webster, and Sigilnikov went down and forced that puck over top of the goal. Well, this guy has some experience, Howie, as we can see. Alexander Sigilnikov robbing Tommy Webster.
Watch the deke that he puts on the Russian defenseman. Look at this. Rolled the toe over, pulled it through. And here, just couldn't get it up. Lots of room to get it upstairs. The goalkeeper come across, and I would think perhaps got the toe of his skate on him. And hey, that was some shift he put on Gusev.
It was, and Sigilnikov played it beautifully. Now from the face-off, and here miss for Team Canada. Lacroix digs it out through Hall, back to Howe. Marty Howe's shot is blocked. Rebound for Bobby Hull for Webster, bouncing around the goal mouth, and at the blue line, Tremblay whacks at it. Drives it down there. High puck batted down. It's just over the blue line. They'll whistle that outside as Marty Howe shot it in. Early in period 2, with a minute and 50 seconds played approximately, it is 1-0 for Team Canada.
Here it comes again. Bouncing out in, watch, look at in front of the net. Look at how the Russian clears the Canadian out of there.
Changes now as they send out the line of Tardif, Poole, and Bernier. There's Ricky Lee on defense with Brad Selwood, former Toronto Maple Leaf combination out there. With the New England Whalers now. Here's Lee, watched by Kotov in his own zone. 2 Soviets in there, but Tardif wins it and clears it ahead to the Soviet blue line. Moving back forward is Chatlow, getting it over on the right side for Tierin. At center ice now. Several new players in the Soviet lineup tonight. Here's Lee taking a little bit of a pop at Popov. He gets called for it, I believe. They've called double penalty. Popov, number 14, tangled Lee up, and then Lee gave him a very soft glove to the face. So the score, Canada 1, the Soviets 0. This is Game 8 from Moscow. we have a penalty each way there. Ricky Lee.
Number 2, Team Canada. 2-minute penalty for roughing. Vladimir Popov, number 14, USSR.
And Popov gets the Soviet penalty. Interference for Popov and roughing for Ricky Lee. Offsetting minor penalties. Now it's center ice. Play at the Soviet blue line. They simply drifted back in there. Bernier out doing some forechecking. Vikulov now for the Soviet team at the Canadian line. Getting around Hamilton, stopping on the boards. Feeding it to Harlamov, and he shot wide with Cheevers at his mercy. And Hamilton jams it ahead for Rejan Houle. Ahead to Serge Bernier across the line. Bernier shoots. Good stop. Rebound. Oh, and they just missed there with Houle cruising in. Tremendous drive, and on the rebound, they almost beat him with Houle right there. They shoot it down the ice and call it for icing. As these teams are playing 5 aside with a minute and 15 left in the penalties to Lee and Popov.
And Harlamov, when Vikulov had the puck, just watch this now. Watch 19, but look at Harlamov skate and get in behind Stapleton. The key there, he gets in behind. Just skated right by Stapleton, and he didn't see him.
Lacroix will handle the face-off for Canada. Back to Bobby Hall. He boomed one, and Shadrin got his stick on it. Now this is Lyapkin working out. Away from Hall. To center ice. The Soviets to the Canadian blue line. Drops it over to Shadrin. His shot goes wide. Bounces right in front. Lacroix comes in to recover. Against Shadrin being checked into the corner. Turned back in there, and Shadrin wins the puck. He's got Kuznetsov over on this side. Kuznetsov slapping it. Did not get much wood on it. And Cheevers with the save leaves it for J.C. Tremblay and now Bobby Hull. They have 40 seconds remaining in those double minors to Lee and Popov. Here is J.C. Tremblay starting out at the Canadian blue line. Reaches the center red across to Bobby Hull. Hull passes and it was blocked. Rather than shoot, he passed and Lyapkin slid over to block the pass to Lacroix. Now Kuznetsov gets it across to Shadrin. Away inside the line from Howe. A drifting shot up on Cheevers. Off balance, he makes the save.
Bobby Hull was going in at a pretty good angle to let it go, but way over on the right, Andy Lacroix was coasting in home free. Watch JC here. There's Lacroix heading. JC puts it on Hull's stick. Now look at here. Bob goes in, could let it go, but he tried to get it underneath Lyapkin and hit him on the shin and bounced out. But certainly Lacroix was home free and would have had a much better chance to score if the pass had got through.
I think if Bobby had second chance, he might have shot because Sudelnikov came over and left him a lot of net with a bullet kind of shot that Bobby Hull could power.
Not often, though, the Russian goes down to block a pass or a shot.
All right, here is Theurin's shot. That is blocked on the Canadian defense. Harrison stopping it, leaving it for Frank Mahovlich. Now Pat Stapleton. We have 10 seconds remaining in those double minor penalties. Mahovlich, he could not sweep away with it at center ice. Had to wait for the puck. Big watch by Shatlov in there. Now Anison comes up with it. Anison's shot from a bad angle is wide. It goes all the way back down the ice. As they'll chase it there, the penalties have expired. They're back at full strength, these two teams. With Canada in front, 1-0 near the 5-minute mark of the second period of this 8th and final game. Here is Theurin passing to an open wing. Kotov was not there. Mike Walton gets it fed to him, and his shot was blocked by the Soviet defense player. Into the corner, they both bump, lose their balance. Harrison goes in. He can't win the puck. And now Anison will shoot it down the ice. Cheevers watching it, lets it go wide of the crease. It's called for icing. There's Harlamov. He's taken quite a pounding in this series, sitting at the Soviet bench. Tough little guy. In fact, the Soviet sports writers were getting down on him for the chippy kind of play he's been displaying lately in this series. Of course, Soviet players are not expected to perform in this manner, at least not in an open kind of situation where the whole world could see them doing it.
Well, our fellows were taking some pretty good runs at that little fellow, and I think he was punished pretty good, but once he got to Russia, he gave as much as he received.
He keeps bouncing back. Now Harrison shoulders the puck in there. Keeps it looking for Mike Walton. Waits to make his play. Over to Pat Stapleton here on the left point. Closing in. He shoots. And it was deflected just wide with Walton out in front of the goal. Back on the right point. Hamilton keeps it in. Drives it down. Canadians putting pressure on the Soviets now, leading 1-0. Here's Frank Mahovlich back on the board. He tries to make the play. Does. Slides it across the open goal crease. Harrison behind the goal for Mahovlich. Canadians roaming at will in there. Here's Hamilton's shot. Blocked by Sudelnikov. Comes high off the boards. Back for Frank Mahovlich. Now Harrison. Maltsev steps into him. Gusev comes up with it, and they work it free. Harrison could not make the pass out. Then he and Gusev go bumping some more. Sticks going high back in there. Harrison and Gusev, and finally the play comes away at the Soviet blue line. They break to the Canadian line now. Inside a pass for Vikulov, who shoots a rebound. Another great stop in there. It was Al Hamilton down to block the second shot. And the Canadians come pouring right back. Broken up at the Soviet blue line. Now here's Vikulov inside the Canadian line, feeding it across. Too far on that side. Cheever sliding away out of his goal against Maltsev. In the crease and on the corner, there's high-sticking Harrison cutting down a Soviet player. He's going to get a penalty as he took down, I think it was Maltsev over there. With the score, Canada 1 and the Soviets nothing. This is game 8 from Moscow.
Number 15, Team Canada, 2-minute penalty for cross-checking.
There have been 7 penalties called, all minors in this game. The 4th one for Canada, just picked up now by Jim Harrison for cross-checking at 6:12. Ed Shadrin will center the Soviet power play against Ralph Backstrom. Ordering Stapleton back out of the circle. He comes back on the point for Yuri Lyapkin. Lays it on the boards for Yakushev. Hopped over him. Shadrin now back to the other corner for number 31, Kotov. Shalimov getting a chance. The side of the goal. They score as Yakushev came cruising right in there. And the Soviets tie it up.
Watch this break pass now. J.C. caught looking the wrong way. Probably had to turn around and see the Russians sneaking in behind him. Now let's watch it. They get it in the corner. Now watch the top of your screen. Look at J.C. looking the wrong way. There's no way the man in the corner can put it in. Big Yakushev slips in behind him as he's done a dozen times. Got to be standing out. Your trouble is coming from center ice area, not from out of the corner.
Yakushev from Shadrin ties it up. The second power play goal of this hockey game. Coming in the 6th, 7th minute of the second period here. Now Yakushev on the left side. Works it across here. Closing in is number 31, Shalimov, swept behind the goal by Marty Howe. Shalimov still with it to Kuznetsov. Kuznetsov's shot blocked loose around there, and Cheever is cleared to J.C. Tremblay and off to Gordie Howe on the boards. And Howe shoots it out to center ice. Canadians a little unbalanced after that quick Soviet thrust of the power play to tie the game. Back they come. Here's Shalimov right in front. He shoots at Cheevers with a great save. Shalimov closing right in on him. Jerry Cheevers has certainly done a marvelous job again tonight against the Soviet
Watch
attackers.
this. I think J.C. takes it off his stick. No, he does. Yes, he does. Look at that. J.C. got the stick out. Shalimov made one move too many. But that Cheevers certainly has played extremely well. A moment ago, it took one off of Vikulov, right back one off of Maltsev.
Good eye, Howie. It was J.C. who made the play as Cheevers had him covered on it as he approached him. Now back for the Soviet team. Number 21, Yuri Shadilov. Works it over to Anisin. Anisin across to the far side to Shatilov again. Round behind the goal for Tierin. Now Kotov plays it down to his goaltender, and they'll hang on there with 12:28 to play in the second period. And the score tied now. Soviets 1, Canada 1 here in the 8th and final game from Moscow. Back to Bobby Hull. That is drifted wide. Shatilov getting it up. And finally to number 25, 29, Kotov, and out to Popov now as he works away at center ice. Popov, a left side pass over to Kotov. Tries to backhand it in front, gets turned back into the corner by Brad Selwood, and they shoot it up the boards. Soviets keep it in. Fans hollering for a penalty there in the corner as Selwood took the Soviet player down, but here's Bobby Hall now inside the line, centering it across. Nobody there as Webster went down. Puck in that Soviet zone, coming out to center ice now. This is number 29, Kodov, digging it down into the corner. Selwood back there for it, being watched by Popov. He jams him against the boards and gets shoved away as they whistle it down. Sadelnikov is coming out to the Soviet blue line, heading slowly toward his bench. He may have been shaken up on a previous play. He's all hunched over there.
There was a Canadian player, I just can't recall who it was. It could have been Backstrom on that McCraw, I believe, cutting across the front of the net. Shalamov, number 21, just took him right out of the play. If I've ever seen an interference penalty, this was one. But then the Canadian player slid into the goaltender, but he was forced there by Shalamov. Possibly when they made contact, it hit him in the arm.
He is receiving treatment now at the Soviet bench. The backup goalie, the other man dressed, is Vladimir Pulepanov, number 35. But at the moment, it appears as though Sadelnikov is staying in the game. Coach Boris Kulagin now comes over to have a look at him.
I believe what led to that Harrison high sticking penalty down here in this corner was when they were up in behind the Russian net. Harrison had control of the puck, and that Gusev took a vicious two-hander at the stick and at the puck. It wasn't at Harrison. And Harrison turned around and stuck his stick or right shoulder high or throat high. You can see these two fellas going at it. But then for him to come down into the Canadian end and take a boarding penalty in there cost us a goal. It really did.
Alexander Sadelnikov is apparently okay. He's getting back into his net. We're going to get a face-off now to resume play beside the Canadian goal. Bernier slides into the face-off and wins it against Maltsev. Back to Pat Stapleton. Now Whitey Stapleton ahead to Serge Bernier. Bernier coasting at the blue line. Works to the center ice area. Over on the right side for Hamilton. Inside the Soviet line. Jams it down in there for Houle. He couldn't reach the puck. Now the Soviets, Valery Harlamov with it. Over to Gusev. Skating slowly, now lets the long shot go. Deflected by Cheever's stick. Tardif gave it away to Maltsev in there, back to Harlamov. Over to Vikulov, he shoots and a save by Jerry Cheevers, point blank on that short side. On the boards, Tardif lost it again. Stapleton now recovers, and the Canadians finally start out ahead to Bernier and over to Mark Tardif inside the blue line. Tardif back to Serge Bernier across to Reggie Houle. He shoots, blocked by Sadelnikov. Rebound in behind the goal, out in front for Al Hamilton. He couldn't get a shot away as he bumps Luchenko. Hops over Houle's stick. Now here's Harlamov on the left side with Maltsev inside the blue line. Back for Maltsev, tipped by Stapleton. Rebound comes out, and a shot by Vikulov was stopped. Canadians a little loose there at the center ice area, allowing the Soviets to sweep down ice on them. Gusev now working it out. Hamilton at center ice, shoots it inside the blue line. Delayed offside wave as the Soviets come out with it. Bobby Hull checking Gusev. Gusev flips it down into the corner. We've got about 10 minutes to play in the second period, reaching the halfway mark of this hockey game. Here's Bobby Hull now at center ice winding up. Over on the right side, it's offside as Houle had to take the pass in behind him.
You know, you sit here and you just wonder what has gone through the Russian coach's mind in regards to strategy. The Soviets had so much success when they forechecked and sent 2 and 3 men in. Now they're just peeling back, picking up the wings, and we're having no trouble getting out of our own end.
Billy Harris is sending out Jim Harrison for this face-off. Comes back to J.C. Tremblay, shoots it down to the Soviet corner. Kuznetsov behind his goal, bumped there by Harrison and spun around. Now Lyapkin with it. He clears long down the ice. He called for an offside pass. Now they wave it off. They wave it off the boards, that long pass to Kodov. Now here's Marty Howe. He's out there with J.C. Tremblay on defense. He shoots it down the ice. Went off the skate. There is no icing on that play. We have 9.5 minutes remaining in the second period and a 1-all tie. Inside the Soviet blue line. Kodov there as Harrison, his sticks go high, and Capel is going to whistle it down and call a charging penalty. charging penalty against the Soviet players, so they'll be even now at 4 penalties apiece. Viktor Shalimov gets the penalty. It will be for charging. And the time will be 10:34 of the second period.
I was quite surprised, actually, that he didn't send 2 fellas off because Harrison got the stick up pretty high and given a pretty good rubbing across the top of the head with the stick.
Wait a minute now, they may have given the penalty to Harrison. The Soviet player skated over there, did not go in the box, and now the official Kampala is instructing Harrison to go to the penalty box. The penalty has gone the other way.
Well, I didn't think we were going to get that kind of break in Moscow, the Soviet Union. There's no way that Harrison was going to get away with that. I just sat here shaking my head.
Well, Kampala, the referee, has the right man finally, and now as they're set to face off, a late change by Billy Harris. A complete change on the power play except for J.C. Tremblay, or at least the penalty-killing team except for Tremblay. Staples going out there with Markow and Ralph Backstrom. Got some good legs up front there. Howe now losing it at center ice. Shadrin across the line with Shalimov. Shalimov, it comes over on the far side, and Lyapkin comes back at center ice, and they whistle it down right there. Face-off will be in the Soviet zone. The pass apparently gloved ahead, and so they'll face off beside Sadelnikov, who's given up the 1 goal so far in the game. Got 2 versions as to the goal scorer. The scoreboard still shows Ralph Backstrom as the scorer, but Bobby Hull apparently on the change of the goal has been given credit for it. Yakushev with the Soviet goal. They both came on power plays, 1 in each period. Now Howe bumping with Shalimov. Shalimov wins it behind the goal, trying to feed it out in front for Shadrin. Goes back to Kuznetsov. Kuznetsov closing in, shooting. Oh, and he shot wide. Cheevers sliding out there, and he shot wide of the goal. Lyapkin shot. That drifts wide on the other side. Soviet power play pressure now with Harrison in the penalty box. Shalimov shot blocked by Stapleton. It comes to J.C. Tremblay, and finally it is cleared down the ice by Tremblay. 1:15 remaining in the Canadian penalty. The Soviets putting on the pressure now with a 1-1 tie, looking for the go-ahead goal with Harrison in the penalty box. Comes to Lyapkin on the left side. Drops it for Shalimov to Kuznetsov. Kuznetsov being watched by Markow. Gets it over on the left board. Soviets taking all kinds of time. They'll wait the entire 2 minutes of the power play if they have to. Cheevers digs it out to Lyapkin. Lyapkin shoots wide. 3 great drives wide on his power play by the USSR. Yakushev back on the point to Kuznetsov. To Alexander Yakushev. Over to Lyapkin. He shoots wide. That's the 4th time now. As J.C. Tremblay in the corner finally again drives it down the ice. We have 30 seconds left in Harrison's penalty. Now the Soviets forming up and changing on the go. Lyapkin feeds it ahead to Alexander Maltsev with Mikulov inside the line. Maltsev setting, and the shot was stopped by Cheevers, who's had just a sensational period of great pressure here against the Soviet Union. Cleared down the ice. Less than 10 seconds to go in Jim Harrison's penalty. It appears the Canadian team has withstood the Soviet power play on this occasion as Gordie Howe does it before checking. The Soviets move it out. Harrison is on the ice again, full strength inside the blue line. Lyapkin turned around by Harrison, still has the puck now, lost it. Harlamov recovers. Gordie Howe watching him. Harlamov on the far side, circles away from Howe, doing a great skating job, works in front. Cheevers made the save, and Tremblay picked it up just in time as Howe nails the Soviet player in behind the goal, and the fans don't like that. Here's Tremblay with Harrison inside the blue line. Tremblay to Harrison, back over to Vahovich, couldn't get it to him as Sadelnikov came out to grab it.
During that Russian power play, Shalimov on 2 different occasions made passes at Jerry Cheevers and influence. Here's young Karmanoff and Gordie Howe chasing him, and watch this little fella fight off probably the strongest man in the game. And he forced Cheevers to come up with a great save, and had not J.C. been there, Maltsev would have put it in.
On the face-off, Tardif shot him to the corner. Now Tardif gets a chance at a shot, a high drive, and Sadelnikov handled that. Popoff, number 14, around behind the goal to his defense player, Tiyurin. Now the Soviets break out again. Here on the right side, Sapelkin coming down, or Aniston it was, and that was broken up. Reggie Houle feeding Mark Tardif. Tardif tried to make the long pass up to Bernier, lost the puck, and Easton circles back at his own blue line. We've got about 6.5 minutes remaining in the second period. The score is 1-1. At the Canadian blue line, Sergei Kotov. Waits, makes his play now inside the line, shoots it down to Kotov, and he's shot wide. Around for Reggie Houle, he digs it out to center, and quickly the Soviets pounce on it again. They have the edge right now in the trend of this hockey game late in the second period. 1-1 tie. Here's number 21, Vladimir Chatelot. Works it down, long shot off the boards, Popov going in for it. Bumps with Lee, who goes down, and Tardif carries on. He cannot clear. Over for Kotov, loose, just sliding by that goal post again. Here is Chatelot getting it over to Popov. He shoots, and Cheevers will hang on this time and take some of that pressure off and settle his team down.
That number 29, that Kotov, watch him really scoot. Look at him get by Bernier here and didn't have much room to put it in. Cheevers had it. Had the corner covered, but here it comes again. But the Russians, time and time again now, are just skating. They're playing tic-tac-toe with the puck, and we're not finishing the check or not bumping or turning soon enough and following them. Certainly we've got to follow them. We've got to bump them.
Cheevers pressuring Capello there. He made the save on the left side of the net. They put the face-off on the right side of the net. Going to be over there now as the drop to LaCroix. Does not get it all the way out. It comes back for Gusev. The rebound is loose in front, and Cheevers has it under him and holds it. You get the feeling the way the Soviets are coming wave after wave inside the line. So many shots wide, so many great saves by Cheevers. They'll get one momentarily. Yakushev now waiting to make his play to Shalimov. Gets turned back by Al Hamilton, who has the puck for Team Canada. Stops. Now Hamilton ahead to Bobby Hull off his skate. Slides free to the Soviet blue line, and now Shadrin, number 19. Right wing pass for Shalimov. Shalimov inside the line against Stapleton, behind the goal. Dumps it out, was stopped by Hamilton, and Andre Lacroix now waits, makes his play to Stapleton on his wide ice. He can't get there in time. The Soviet player Kuznetsov leaves it for Yakushev. Yakushev along those boards, big, strong attacker, feeds it over into the slot again for number 31, Shalimov. They couldn't get it to him. The Canadians break out of there and feed it ahead to center ice. But their offense has been almost nil the past few minutes. Here's a chance now for Hull. Inside the line, tries to control the puck, lost it right there, and the Soviets sweep back down the ice. Here's Shalimov across to Shadrin. He shoots wide. So many drives wide here in the past few minutes as the Soviets have great scoring chances. Lacroix bumps into Kuznetsov, and it slides down to Gusev. With 4 minutes and 20 seconds to play in the period, Lacroix steals the puck, gets it over. Webster fell, could not make the play, and the Soviets come right back. Right side pass here for Shalimov. He's had a long shift, due for a change. Checked by Pat Stapleton. Bobby Hull lost it. Kuznetsov comes in. Kuznetsov getting set to make his pass, then gets bumped off the puck and taken away by Tommy Webster. But it's been all Soviets in terms of puck control here in the second period. Now here's Harrison ahead for Mike Walton. He was stick-checked by Shalimov. And Harrison leaves it for Hamilton. Ahead to Frank Mahovlich now. Now the Soviets make changes on the go. Here's a shot by Walton. No, and it just drifts wide of the deflection. Mahovlich in the corner with it. Skates out, fed it too far back outside the blue line for Al Hamilton, who's backed off the play, and they finally shoot the puck behind the bench for a face-off. 3.5 minutes to play now in the second period. The goals, Hull for Canada, Yakushev for the Soviet Union, both on power plays. We've got a 1-1 tie in the 8th game.
Find Team Canada members saying, oh, just a little too long. It's got to be short shifts. Obviously, they're getting behind the play, and they're really having trouble coming back.
A long shift for both teams. The Soviet legs appear stronger on it. Now the change is made. J.C. Tremblay skates back into the corner. Harlamov watching him. In behind the goal, Tremblay finally works away from Harlamov and gives the puck to Marty Howe. Marty Howe to the line at center ice. The pass is over 2 lines offside for Jim Harrison. Team Canada will be leaving Moscow tomorrow at 11 o'clock, although 11 o'clock flight from Moscow means that you must be on your way to the airport by 8 o'clock, so they'll have a short night. They'll be going into Prague for a game against the Czechoslovakia national team on Tuesday and then flying home to Canada to Toronto, arriving at 4:30 on Wednesday afternoon. Now here's Mahavlich sweeping it behind his own goal. J.C. Tremblay couldn't control it. Mike Walton chops it back for him now. The Canadians in the main on the defensive in the second period. Soviets have the only goal of the period by Yakushev. Fed ahead of the Soviet line. Gusev lost it for a moment, then recovered. Now Mahavlich makes a play over the right side. That was batted away by Gusev, who sends the Soviet attackers inside the line. A quick shot is wide. Comes around the boards over Mahavlich's stick for Marty Howe. Marty Howe with Harrison and Walton. Dumps it down to the corner. Howe goes in after it against Luchenko. They bump there. Out in front of the goal for Mahavlich. He could not get a shot away. Maltsev golfs it around to the far side. And on the point, Harlamov lets it slide out to center for Mike Walton. Now Marty Howe to Harrison. Harrison into the left side. Digs it back for Marty Howe. Could not get a shot away. Breaking out of there is Kotov across the blue line. He slows it down. Makes his play. Vikulov for Harlamov. Could not set him up. And Mahavlich now feeds it across the left side for Jim Harrison. As the Soviets change on the go. Another long shift for both these teams out there. The Afghans complaining there's going to be a penalty here. Harrison high-sticked him. The delayed penalty sign is on. The Canadians coming up with it finally. And now Jim Harrison takes his second penalty of the last 8 minutes of the second period. They're calling it slashing on Harrison. Against the Soviet player, it was Luchenko, I believe, number 3.
They carried him into the fence pretty violently and had to stick up pretty high. I didn't see the slashing incident, but there wasn't a doubt in my mind at all that he had him called for boarding. I think what the kids across the country should look for years we've always thought that the Russians can't shoot the puck. This Maltsev just let one go a moment ago. Just a fantastic wrist shot.
They've given him a 5-minute major, Howie. Jim Harrison, a 5-minute major penalty. Obviously a deliberate attempt to injure. So a 5-minute penalty to Jim Harrison. The Russian player apparently is bleeding. He drew blood. Therefore, a 5-minute penalty. Luchenko is at the bench. You see him now being treated. So Team Canada has dug itself into a big hole on that penalty to Harrison. They'll be short for the balance hole on that penalty to Harrison. They'll be short for the balance of this period, 1 minute and 50 of it, and then more than 3 minutes of the beginning of the third period. Here's the penalty-killing combination. Mark Howe and Backstrom. The Soviets won it for a moment, but now Hamilton recovers in the corner. Backhands it out across the blue line. Kuznetsov spins away from Mark Howe. Steps inside the line of the pass over on the side to Shalimov. And it's finally back to Shadrin at center ice. But 1 minute and 25 to play in the period. Canada short for 5 minutes for the Soviet power play on Harrison's penalty. Here's Yuri Lyapkin. Takes all kinds of time. Gets a bump from Mark Howe. Now they send Yakushev away at center ice with it. Yakushev to Shalimov over on the right side. Tries to feed it back across the ice. Does. Delayed penalty here against Canada. Lyapkin's taken down. Shadrin shoots. Deflected over top of the goal. Hamilton with it comes up with the puck, and they finally whistle it down. But the Canadians evidently have got a cross-checking penalty. Ralph Backstrom is outraged. He's skating over there now to question it. They're not sure who it's against. It'll be Mark Howe. Mark Howe is getting the cross-checking penalty. The Canadians will be 2 men short for the balance of this period.
I'm not surprised he didn't get one right off the start, Don. Mark went up into the Russian corner and just took a kid violently into the fence. Let's take a look at this and see. No, we couldn't see where he got the penalty on that one. At least I didn't. But right off the face-off, Backstrom held the Russian player, and he lost the draw and grabbed him and pulled him down. Could have been another penalty there. The puck went up into the Russian end, and Mark Howe took a pretty good run of a Russian and gave him a high stick.
Howie, we must point out the Soviet television people control the slow-motion replays. We're pretty well at their mercy, so if you're not able to see and comment on all the things you'd like to, of course, that is the reason that you well know. I want to bring the fans' attention to that. Now Canada is 2 men short for the balance of this period. Here it is getting out to number 3, Luchenko. Feeds it over on the left side. Luchenko again now waiting to make his play. Back over there for Gusev. His shot goes wide. Harlamov on the near boards did not trap it. All the way back to center ice. There are 35 seconds to play in this second period. The Canadians 2 men short in a 1-all tie. Maltsev to Harlamov. Bumped by Stapleton. Gordie Howe tips it outside the blue line. They got to wait to get onside. Luchenko across to Maltsev. Gusev, the big defenseman. He could not make his play. Stapleton now. They have 15 seconds to play in the period. Gordie Howe works it down the ice, then feeds it back for J.C. Tremblay right in front of Cheevers. He'll coast it behind that goal to kill all the time he can. Out to Gordie Howe. Only 2 seconds left in the second period. Howe has the puck, and the second period is over. And for now, the Canadian team is out of that double power play situation for the Soviets, with Harrison in for slashing and Mark Howe for cross-checking. There'll be a minute left in Mark's penalty. There'll be a little over 3 minutes left in Harrison's penalty when the third period gets underway, and the shots on goal in that period were 12 to 8 for the Soviet Union. They were 10-10 in the first, and now the Soviets have 22, and the Canadians have 18 on the 40 minutes of hockey we've seen tonight. And so with 2 periods over, with the score, Canada won, the Soviets won. This is Game 8 from Moscow.